Have you ever noticed how someone suddenly starts missing you when you pull back? One moment you're fully available, and they treat you like you're just another option. Then, as soon as you give them space, bam, they're chasing after your attention. Why does that happen? What's the key to flipping the script and making them realize what they had? Here's the truth. It's not about playing games or being petty. It's about mastering yourself, embracing distance, and letting them feel your absence. In today's video, I'm sharing 7 brutally honest reasons why pulling away makes them come running back, and we're diving into some Stoic wisdom to explain it. This will change how you view relationships, and more importantly, how you see yourself. So, let's jump in. But first, there's something important you need to grasp. This video isn't just about them, it's about you. You have way more control over your relationships than you realize. It's not about waiting for them to come crawling back. It's about taking charge of your life, owning your choices, and recognizing your worth. Stepping back isn't just to get their attention. It's for your own growth, evolution, and the respect you owe yourself. I get it. Some of you might be feeling frustrated right now. You've been the one who always reaches out, puts in the effort, and fixes things. But let me give it to you straight. Every time you chase someone who doesn't appreciate you, you lose a piece of yourself. That ends today. By the time this video is over, you won't just understand why giving space works. You'll know exactly how to do it in a way that leaves you feeling stronger, more confident, and more powerful than ever. Stoicism isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending you don't care. It's about realizing you can't control how someone else feels or responds. You can't force them to see your value, but you can control how much energy you give to someone who doesn't. When you pull back and focus on yourself instead of them, something shifts. They start to notice what they're missing because you've shown through your actions that you don't need their validation to feel whole, ready to reclaim your power. Let's dive into the 7 reasons why they'll come running back once you give them space. Reason 1. The shock of your growth. Ever notice how people get comfortable in relationships, friendships, or even family dynamics? They think they've got you all figured out, always available, always there to cater to their needs. So, when you step back and start focusing on yourself, it completely throws them off. It's like pulling the rug out from under them. They're left bewildered. Picture this. For months or even years, you've been the dependable one, the person who checks in, makes plans, and is always there in a pinch. Then, one day, you stop. You stop texting, stop calling, and instead of chasing them, you start chasing your own goals. You hit the gym, level up your career, and spend time with people who value you. What happens next? They freak out. They didn't see it coming. They thought they knew you, but now they're confronted with someone they don't recognize. Here's the secret. People fear change, especially when it comes from someone they underestimated. When you grow without them, it makes them question everything. They start to think, wait a minute, did I misjudge them? Did I overlook something? That shock acts like a wake-up call they weren't prepared for, sparking curiosity that makes them crave your attention even more. But let's be real. You're not growing for them, you're doing it for yourself. That's the twist. Many mistakenly believe personal growth is about proving others wrong, but it's really about becoming the best version of yourself. The more you focus on your goals and personal growth, the more your transformation will speak for itself. And here's what happens next. They start watching. It's human nature. Those who didn't value you start lurking, curious about what's changed. They see your glow up and realize they've missed out. But by then, it's too late. You're already thriving. Pick one area of your life to focus on, fitness, career, or hobbies, and dive in wholeheartedly. Make that your priority. Don't do it to prove anything to them. Do it because you deserve to live your best life. Trust me, when they see how much you've grown, they won't be able to ignore you. But by then, you'll be so focused on your own growth that their reaction won't even matter. Reason 2. The magnetic pull of self-sufficiency. Let's dive into self-sufficiency, one of the most powerful yet overlooked traits you can develop. People often underestimate just how magnetic being self-sufficient can be. In a world where so many rely on others for validation and approval, standing on your own 2 feet sets you apart in a huge way. Most people are constantly searching for someone to affirm their worth, to tell them they matter. But when you thrive on your own terms, not needing anyone's approval, it catches their attention. You become a force of nature, someone who doesn't require validation to feel complete. Self-sufficiency isn't about shutting others out or pretending you don't care. It's about knowing your worth and not needing someone else to confirm it. When your happiness, confidence, and success don't hinge on anyone else, you become incredibly powerful. And here's the truth: people are drawn to that. They're attracted to those who know who they are and don't constantly seek external approval. Why? Because it's rare. In a world full of people trying to fit in, being comfortable standing alone makes you stand out. When you're self-sufficient, you radiate a quiet confidence that can't be faked. It's not loud or boastful. It's an inner strength that speaks volumes. You're not chasing anyone for attention or begging for validation. And guess what? That's when people start craving your attention. When they see you don't need them to feel good about yourself, they start to wonder why. They ask themselves, how are they so okay without me? That's when the dynamic shifts. They go from feeling in control to realizing they're missing something they didn't even know they needed. Here's the kicker: people want what they can't have. When you stop giving them the attention they took for granted, you become something they can't have. It's like a switch flips. Suddenly, the person who was always there, checking in, making them feel important, isn't around anymore. Instead of you needing them, they start to feel like they need you. This isn't manipulation. It's about setting healthy boundaries where your happiness isn't tied to anyone but yourself. When they see that, they want to be part of your world even more. Think about it. When you were always available and reaching out, you were giving away your power. You were saying, I need you to feel good about myself. But when you stop that, when you show through your actions that you don't need their validation to be happy, everything changes. You're no longer chasing them. You're pursuing your own growth, goals, and happiness. And that shift is magnetic. Everyone wants to be around someone who is confident in who they are. When you become self-sufficient, you're no longer emotionally dependent on someone else. You don't cling to their every word, waiting for them to validate you. You create your own sense of worth through your actions, achievements, and ability to thrive without constant approval. And that's a game changer. The moment you stop needing them, they start needing you. Why? Because they see you're happy, fulfilled, and moving forward without them. That realization can be startling for them, making them recognize they've taken you for granted. Self-sufficiency also teaches you how to protect your emotional energy. When you're not relying on someone else to feel good, you can be more selective about who you let into your life. You can set boundaries without guilt because you're not afraid of losing someone who doesn't respect you. Setting those boundaries earns you respect, not just from others, but from yourself. You stop giving people easy access to you because you understand your own value. And when you become less available, people start valuing your presence more. Consider this. When someone is always available, it becomes expected and taken for granted. But when you pull back, it forces others to reassess how much they appreciate you. They realize just how much energy they were getting from you, and now that it's gone, they crave it. They want to be part of your life again, not to control you, but because they see you thriving on your own. That's truly attractive. And remember, self-sufficiency isn't about isolation, it's about strength. You can enjoy being around people without needing them to define your worth. You can walk into a room alone and still exude confidence. That kind of self-assuredness is rare and draws people in without you even trying. Start small. Treat yourself to something you love, whether it's a solo dinner, a hike, or a day dedicated to your interests. Learn to enjoy your own company and appreciate your time alone. The more comfortable you become in your own skin, the less you'll feel the need to seek external validation. And here's the bonus. When they see how well you're doing on your own, they'll be drawn to that energy. They'll want to be part of your life because you no longer rely on anyone else to feel whole. When you can create your own happiness, confidence, and fulfillment, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And when they witness that, they'll realize just how magnetic self-sufficiency really is. Reason 3. The envy of your newfound confidence. Confidence is a powerful force that can stop people in their tracks, especially when they didn't expect it from you. If they're used to seeing you second-guess yourself and constantly seek their approval, your newfound confidence hits them like a bolt of lightning. It disrupts the entire dynamic, leaving them wondering, where did this confidence come from? How did I not see this before? Imagine this. For a long time, you've been the person who hesitates, questions every decision, and seeks their opinion on everything. You've let their validation shape your self-image. But then, something shifts. You take a step back, focus on yourself, and begin building a stronger version of you. You work on your self-esteem and start trusting your own judgment more than theirs. Gradually, your confidence starts to blossom. Here's the thing about confidence. It's contagious, but not always in a way that benefits you. When someone who took you for granted sees you stepping into your confidence, it often makes them uncomfortable. Why? Because your growth shines a light on their own insecurities. They begin to question themselves and wonder why they didn't see this in you before, and more importantly, why they lack it themselves. That's where envy comes into play. It might not be toxic, but it's still envy. They wish they had the level of confidence you now possess. They long for the ability to walk into a room with their head held high, knowing exactly who they are and what they stand for. Seeing you do it disrupts their perception of you. You're no longer the person reliant on their validation. You've become someone who knows their worth. And that kind of confidence is magnetic. It draws people in while prompting them to reflect on why they overlooked this side of you before. Let's break this down further. When someone gets comfortable in a position of power over you, be it in a relationship, friendship, or work environment, they like knowing you look up to them. Your need for their approval bolsters their sense of security. But when you stop seeking that approval and begin making decisions on your own, it shakes things up. They no longer feel in control, creating discomfort and imbalance in the relationship. That's when the shift occurs. Your confidence demands respect and commands attention in a way that seeking approval never did. People are forced to see you differently. They can no longer treat you like someone waiting for validation. This shift changes how they approach you and how they view you. sometimes even making them realize just how much they underestimated you. But here's the beautiful part. Your confidence isn't just about how others see you, it's about how you see yourself. You're no longer relying on external validation to feel good. You know who you are, and you're unafraid to show it. You take up space, speak your mind, and stand firm in your decisions. That kind of self-assuredness attracts others because confidence is undeniably attractive. Here's something many overlook. Confidence doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't mean being the most outspoken person in the room. True confidence is quiet. It's an inner knowing that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. It's the ability to enter a situation fully aware of your value without needing anyone to validate it. That kind of confidence shifts how people treat you, and more importantly, it shifts how you treat yourself. Confidence isn't about perfection. Part of being confident is accepting your imperfections and knowing you're worthy just as you are. When you embody that kind of confidence, everything changes. You're no longer seeking approval because you've given it to yourself. So, how does this make someone crave your attention? It's simple. People are drawn to those who are sure of themselves because confidence is something we all aspire to. When they see you standing tall, owning your space, and making decisions without needing their input, it ignites a spark in them. They begin to wonder, how did they get so confident? Why didn't I see it before? That curiosity evolves into attraction, and that attraction turns into a craving for your presence. Here's where it gets even more interesting. When you exude confidence, it forces people to confront their own insecurities. They can't project their doubts onto you anymore because you won't accept them. Instead, you're showing them who you are, which makes them want to be part of your world because your self-assuredness creates stability, and people crave stability. Start practicing confidence in small ways. Say no to things you don't want to do without guilt. Or speak up for yourself in situations where you'd usually remain silent. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and the more you'll notice the dynamic shift in your relationships. Confidence doesn't mean being the loudest in the room. It means knowing you belong there, even if you're the quietest. When you own your worth and stop relying on others to define it, you'll see a profound shift. Those who once took you for granted will start craving the version of you they never saw coming, the confident, self-assured, empowered you, and that version of you, it's unstoppable. Reason 4. The intrigue of unpredictability. Unpredictability is one of the most underrated forms of power in any relationship. Many people don't realize just how magnetic being unpredictable can be. When someone can anticipate your every move, they start to tune out. They get comfortable, convinced they know exactly what you'll do next, which leads them to stop putting in effort and thinking about you. But when you become unpredictable and harder to read, it forces people to pay attention. Suddenly, they're unsure of what to expect, and that uncertainty creates intrigue. Let's break this down. Picture this. You've always been available, always texting first, and always initiating plans. The other person gets used to this routine, knowing exactly when you'll call and how you'll respond. While this predictability may feel comforting at first, it eventually becomes boring. There's no excitement, no mystery. They realize they don't have to work for your attention because you're always there. Then something changes. You stop being so available and doing the things they expect. Maybe you don't respond to their texts as quickly as before, or you're no longer the first to make plans. You're busy living your life and no longer making them the center of your world. What happens next? They start to wonder what's going on. They question why you're not acting like you used to, And that curiosity is powerful. It makes them think about you more as they try to figure out what's different. Here's the truth. People are naturally drawn to mystery. We're wired to solve puzzles, and when you become unpredictable, you turn into a puzzle they can't easily solve. They don't know what you're thinking or why you've changed, making you infinitely more interesting. The uncertainty surrounding you compels them to pay closer attention. When someone can predict your every move, there's no challenge. But when you start doing things they didn't see coming, it forces them to reevaluate how they view you. They begin to wonder what's happening in your life. Why haven't you texted back? Why aren't you always available? Are you seeing someone else? Are you just too busy for them now? These questions make them think about you more, shifting the dynamic. They can no longer take you for granted because they no longer feel secure in their knowledge of what's happening with you. However, here's the key. Unpredictability doesn't mean playing games. It's not about deliberately withholding affection or attention to manipulate someone. It's about genuinely living your life while prioritizing your own needs and goals. You're not being unpredictable just for the sake of it. You're doing it because you're focused on your growth and happiness. When you stop being predictable, it's a natural consequence of putting yourself first. This unpredictability creates a sense of value. When you're always available and meeting their expectations, it's easy for them to take you for granted. They come to expect your time and attention as a constant. But when you pull back and create some distance, they realize your presence isn't guaranteed. They start to see you as someone whose time is valuable, and they don't want to lose that. Think about it. If you've always been the one to initiate contact, they start to expect that. But the moment you stop, they begin to notice. They realize they can't take your effort for granted anymore, forcing them to step up if they want to be in your life. That shift from comfort to uncertainty is where the power of unpredictability lies. People naturally invest more in things they can't easily obtain. If you're always available and predictable, they don't feel the need to work for your attention. But when you become less predictable and start prioritizing yourself, they feel the urge to invest more. They start wondering what they need to do to regain your attention, igniting a craving for your presence. Remember, unpredictability doesn't mean being flaky or unreliable. It's not about ghosting or disappearing for days. It's about finding a healthy balance where you no longer make someone else the center of your universe. You're still there and present, but you're not as predictable as before. You're living your life, focusing on your goals, and not bending over backward to fit into someone else's schedule. Start by breaking one routine. If you've always texted first, stop. If you've always been available at a certain time, get busy with something else. Make your time valuable again by not being so predictable. Let them wonder what's going on and feel the absence of your constant availability. The intrigue of being less predictable will naturally make them think about you more. The beauty of unpredictability lies in its ability to shift the balance. When they can't predict your every move, they'll start to crave your presence in ways they never did before. They'll realize you're not someone they can easily figure out, making you infinitely more attractive. Reason 5. The realization of what they've lost. One of life's hardest truths is that people often don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. It's not that they never cared. They simply became comfortable, taking for granted your constant presence and the time and energy you devoted to them. But when you step back and create some distance, they're forced to confront a reality they hadn't considered. You were offering more than they realized, and now it's absent. At first, they may not even notice. They might think, "Oh, they're just busy. They'll be back." They could assume everything will revert to normal since they're used to you always making the effort. But over time, they begin to feel the void left by all the little things you contributed. Those conversations, emotional support, fun moments, and the comfort of knowing you were always there. That's when it hits them. They've lost something valuable. People often underestimate your impact until they no longer have access to it. When you were there every day, checking in and making plans, they got used to it, viewing it as a guarantee rather than a gift. But the moment you pull back, they must face the fact that they've taken you for granted, and that realization can be a powerful wake-up call. In your absence, they start to truly understand the emotional support, time, and joy you brought to their life. Memories replay in their minds, the laughter, deep conversations, and with each recollection, they feel the weight of what they've lost. They come to realize just how much you enrich their life, and that realization can be both shocking and painful. When someone is always there for you, it's easy to overlook their value. But when that constant presence disappears, it creates a void where the realization begins to sink in. They start reflecting on how much you contributed to their happiness and how much they took for granted. That's when the regret kicks in. They regret not appreciating you more when they had the chance and begin to crave the connection they've lost. Here's a powerful insight. When someone realizes what they've lost, it often comes with deep emotional discomfort. They start questioning how they could have overlooked something so significant. They reflect on all the times they failed to recognize your efforts, leading them to feel like they let something precious slip away. That kind of regret doesn't vanish. It lingers, making them think about you more and more. But here's the key. You didn't do anything wrong by pulling back. In fact, by creating distance, you allowed them to see your true value and gave them the space to reflect on what you brought into their life. Now that they're feeling the loss, they're likely realizing they made a huge mistake by not valuing you when they had the opportunity. This sense of loss can be incredibly powerful, often motivating them to reconnect in ways they never did before. However, remember that you're not stepping back to manipulate anyone into missing you. This isn't about playing games. It's about recognizing your value and refusing to settle for a relationship where you're not appreciated. By giving them space, you're allowing them to reflect on their actions and understand what they've lost. You're showing them that your presence is a privilege, not a given. Your time, energy, and love are valuable. When you give them to someone who doesn't fully appreciate them, you allow them to take you for granted. But when you pull back and reclaim that time and energy for yourself, you make a powerful statement about your worth. You're saying, I know what I bring to the table, and if you can't see that, then you don't deserve it. That self-respect is incredibly attractive. It's often only after someone experiences your absence that they truly grasp how much you meant to them. They begin to compare their current life without you to how it was when you were around, and that comparison highlights just how much better their life was with you in it. They start craving the emotional support, connection, and comfort you provided. However, they can't just snap their fingers to get it back. They need to earn their place in your life again. Don't rush back in. Allow them to sit with the realization of your worth and truly experience life without you. If they come back, it will likely be with a newfound appreciation. If they don't, that's okay too, because you've already honored your value and focused on your growth. The realization of what they've lost is a powerful motivator. It compels them to confront the truth about how much you meant to them and often leads them to want to reconnect. But remember, this isn't about them, it's about you. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less than genuine appreciation. By stepping back, you give them the chance to see your value. And when they finally realize what they've lost, they'll either step up or step out. Either way, you win. Reason 6. The desire to join your new journey. When you step back and focus on yourself, a remarkable transformation occurs. You begin to evolve, grow, and embrace new opportunities. Whether it's exploring new hobbies, advancing your career, spending time with people who truly value you, or working on your personal development. This shift is noticeable, not just to you, but to everyone around you. And guess what? Those who once took you for granted definitely take notice. Here's the thing. Growth is magnetic. When people see you thriving and moving forward without them, it ignites a spark. They start to feel like they're missing out on this exciting new version of you. They see you tackling new challenges and exploring fresh paths, and they want to be part of that journey. No one wants to feel like they're watching from the sidelines as you step into your power and live a fulfilling life. Think about it. When you were always available and putting them first, they felt comfortable. They didn't have to put in much effort because you were always there. But now that you've prioritized yourself, the dynamic has shifted. You're no longer waiting around for their attention. You've grown into someone who sets her own goals and makes things happen on her own terms. And that transformation? It makes them want to reconnect because they realize you're on a journey of growth and they don't want to miss it. What many people don't understand is that personal growth is incredibly attractive. When you actively work on becoming a better version of yourself, whether in your career, health, relationships, or personal development, it creates a magnetic energy around you. You radiate progress, self-confidence, and ambition, which naturally draws people in. The person who once took you for granted now sees this new side of you and recognizes that your life is advancing, whether they're in it or not. They feel an urgency to be part of your journey because they see you moving towards something bigger and better. But here's where it gets interesting. They know they can't just waltz back into your life as if nothing has changed. They realize that if they want to be part of this new version of you, they'll need to step up and show that they're willing to grow alongside you. You've set new standards for yourself, and they can't expect to return to the old dynamics where you did all the work. When someone sees you thriving, it prompts them to reflect on their own life. They might ask themselves, "What am I doing? How did I miss this side of them? Why aren't I growing like that?" It's a wake-up call. They see you making strides, and they begin to feel like they're falling behind. That feeling creates a strong desire within them to join your journey. They don't want to miss the exciting things happening in your life, and they certainly don't want someone else to appreciate the evolved version of you before they do. This isn't about making someone feel excluded. It's about you living authentically. You're not waiting for anyone to catch up. You're moving forward with or without them. That's exactly what makes them want to come back. They want to be there as you enter this new chapter of your life. But here's the catch. They know they must earn their place. They have to prove that they can support this new, empowered version of you or risk being left behind. Another truth is that when you start living for yourself, those not meant to be part of your journey will naturally fall away, and that's a good thing. You don't want to carry people who can't support your growth or aren't willing to evolve with you. The right people, the ones who genuinely care and see your value, will rise to the occasion. They'll want to be part of your new journey, not to hold you back, but to support you as you pursue an amazing future. Focus on your own growth. Not to prove anything to anyone, but because you deserve a life that excites and fulfills you. Whether you're starting a new hobby, pursuing a passion project, or becoming the best version of yourself, make your journey about you. The right people will be drawn to your energy, and those who took you for granted will realize what they've been missing. When you prioritize your journey, you not only improve your life, but also show others that your time and energy are valuable. You demonstrate that you won't wait around for anyone, and if they want to be part of your life, they'll need to step up. This kind of self-assuredness and growth is incredibly attractive, making people want to come back, not just to be around you, but to share in the exciting, evolving life you're creating. Reason 7. The fear of losing you to someone else. Fear is a potent motivator in human psychology. When someone realizes they might lose you to someone else, that fear strikes deep. They start to see that your absence is creating space for someone new, and the thought of you being with someone who recognizes your value, someone they didn't, is enough to spur them into action. This fear breeds a sense of urgency and desperation that's hard to ignore. Initially, they might shrug it off, thinking, they'll be back, or this is just a phase. But as time passes, the reality sinks in. You're not just pulling away, you're evolving into a stronger, more confident version of yourself. They begin to realize that someone else will notice the incredible person you've become and may seize the opportunity before they can. Here's the truth. The idea of being replaced is terrifying, especially when they see you becoming happier, more self-assured, and independent. Thoughts race through their minds. What if someone else appreciates all the things I took for granted? What if they treat them better than I did? That's when the fear truly sets in, prompting vivid scenarios of you with someone new, someone who values you from the start, and that thought can trigger panic. When this fear of losing you kicks in, it often brings a wave of regret. They wish they had treated you better, that they had valued your presence when they had the chance. Now, they fear they've lost you for good. This fear doesn't just fade, it lingers and intensifies their thoughts about you. They start comparing themselves to this imaginary new partner who could step in and offer everything they didn't, and trust me, that comparison gnaws at them. But here's the key. This fear goes beyond jealousy. It's about losing the security of knowing you're always there. They can no longer take your presence for granted, realizing there's a real chance someone else could take their place. This realization is a powerful motivator for them to take action. They don't want to lose the opportunity to be in your life, but they also understand that the dynamic has shifted. You're no longer waiting for them. You're moving on. If they want to be part of your future, they need to step up before it's too late. Interestingly, this fear not only motivates them to return, but also forces them to re-evaluate their own behavior. They begin to question, why didn't I appreciate them more? What can I do differently to avoid losing them again? This self-reflection often leads to genuine change, as they know that if they don't correct their past mistakes, they may not get another chance. The fear of losing you becomes a catalyst for real growth. Remember though, this isn't about manipulation. You're not pulling away to make someone jealous or instill fear. You're focusing on your growth and happiness. Their fear of losing you is a natural consequence of realizing your value. They took you for granted, and now they're waking up to what they stand to lose. Keep thriving. Don't let their fears dictate your path. Focus on your growth, build your life, and surround yourself with those who appreciate you from the start. If someone fears losing you, it's because they're beginning to see what they should have valued all along. But that doesn't mean you should halt your progress for their sake. The fear of losing you to someone else is a strong motivator, but it's not your goal. Your growth is about you, not them. If they want to step up, they must do so on your terms, not out of fear, but from a genuine desire to be part of your journey. And if they don't, that's fine too, because you're already moving forward, and someone who truly values you will be ready to join you on this path. Conclusion: your growth is your true power. Creating distance isn't a game. It's about reclaiming your power, self-worth, and time. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we can truly control is ourselves. When you step back from someone who doesn't appreciate you, you're taking charge of your life. You're proving to yourself and them that your value isn't tied to anyone else's acknowledgement. And trust me, when they see you growing, thriving, and becoming the best version of yourself, they won't be able to resist coming back. But here's the crucial part. You don't need them to return. By prioritizing your growth, you've already won. Whether they come back or not, you're stronger, smarter, and more empowered than ever before. If this video resonated with you, drop a comment below and share your journey. Are you giving someone space right now? Have you had someone return after recognizing your worth? I want to hear your story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Thanks for watching.